Welcome to the first major Payday 2 update of 2023 as we look to send off the game in style with some of the craziest Hail Mary additions we've seen in years, and honestly, I'm here for it. Update 233 predominantly consisted of bug fixes and the McShay Weapon Pack 3, which seems to have divided the community between those who find the DLC jarring in their early 21st century heisting game and those who are embracing the madness, as mechanically, these are some of the most interesting and diverse weapons we've ever seen added to the game. I'll be covering the entire update in this video, giving my initial thoughts and running you through all the new additions to work out if the weapon pack is worth your money and how we can maximise it across the hardest difficulties. First up, let's talk about the brand new LMG added to the game, the Akron HC. This thing's a big chunky high caliber weapon with an exclusive set that might break a few people's immersion as once again we're being transported deep into the future. But the first thing I really noticed about it was its incredible versatility. This is the first LMG in the game that can be ran with the DMR kit attachment, making it a DMR LMG hybrid, meaning it can automatically aim down sights, immediately setting it apart from most other weapons in the class. In its DMR state, you're going to trade a fair chunk of ammo for increased damage, but with its solid handling stats and 100 accuracy, it will absolutely do the job within a precision playstyle. Stat-wise, it falls in line with other powerful DMRs such as the Car 4, actually offering superior damage, ammo capacity and pickup rates, but just being slightly more cumbersome as an LMG with its slower time to reload. Even so, it's a fun way to play with the weapon, if not my personal preference. Instead, I like to equip the exclusive set, turning it into more of a traditional spray and pray high-fire LMG, up there with the likes of the KSP and Buzzsaw. This also increases its ammo pickup rate by more than 2 times, which is pretty insane. Despite not having quite the same ammo capacity or maximum mag size as the other options in the class, it does retain that massive advantage of being able to aim down sight, making it more deadly at all ranges and markedly easier to control. So if you're after a more efficient and satisfying to use LMG, look no further. But that's still not the only other way you can run with it. If you're on a real DPS binge, this is also one of only 3 truly viable crit LMGs in the game, and from what I've played with it, it might just be the best option for this playstyle. You can reach up to 16 points of concealment with this thing, although I prefer to run it with more ammo in the mag, granting you access to an incredibly potent crit machine, with or without the exclusive set. In fact, if we make a quick comparison to the recently added Versteckt LMG, we can see it looks like outside of an inferior base form ammo pickup, this gun has already power crept its competition out of existence. That's bloody McShay pack cannibalism right there. Honestly, this weapon is a monster no matter how you choose to run it, but the simple fact that it can be set up in 3 truly distinct ways is a massive bonus, increasing the amount of content it feels this DLC offers tremendously. It's absolutely a top tier weapon, worth trying out in its many forms. But just like its LMG brethren, the new assault rifle added in the pack, the Rodion 3B, also comes with its own unique mechanics and varying playstyles. In its base form, it's effectively the funkiest looking AR in the game, with consistent albeit subpar stats relative to the best in slot options like the Lion's Roar. Now, you could absolutely choose to run it like any other AR and call it a day there. Whilst it isn't absolutely the best on paper, it handles well, has excellent ammo capacity and reload rates, meaning its barrier for entry as a new player is very low. It also has an alternate 3-round burst fire mode, which is much more than a simple gimmick, allowing you to deal high spike damage and penetrate through shields and body armor. This is excellent as it frees up the secondary slot on most builds. Also, it's just one of those weapons that despite being such an ugly duckling, I really get a kick out of using. I love the iron sights, animations, and just the general feel of firing it. It's a satisfying weapon, and sometimes that's enough alone. Now, I must admit, the strange post-apocalyptic exclusive set doesn't do a whole lot for me, but I'm sure some houses will absolutely love how outlandish it is, even if it is a direct downgrade from just modifying the gun normally and prevents you from being able to silence it. But as I alluded to before, this isn't the only way to run the weapon. My actual preferred strategy at the moment is to lean into the strange triple barrel mechanic as much as possible. You see, unlike the Hailstorm, this alternate fire mode will only shoot 3 shots at once, as opposed to the entire magazine, meaning this is where the weapon's excellent ammo pickup and capacity comes into play. As a result, you can freely spam the triple barrel shot as much as you like, dealing some pretty insane damage in the process, as it has quite a generous single fire rate cap. This opens up entirely new strategies with the weapon, as you can focus exclusively on the burst fire to turn the Rodion into what feels like a completely different gun, being both an amazing shotgun and almost sniper-like DMR. This is possible as the alt fire doesn't seem to have much kick to it regardless of the weapon's stability, meaning you can go wild with this thing at maximum fire rate at any range, while still controlling it perfectly, making it actually one of the most satisfying and powerful DMR style guns in the game. Honestly, do not sleep on this thing. I have been deleting cops on DSOD with Berserker and Low Blow since it launched. Finally, for this new trio of weapons, we have the Akron G2 sniper rifle, which is effectively a secondary slotted hand cannon that gets access to sniper skills such as Graze. With base 480 damage, this gun packs a serious punch and is a legitimate option if your build requires a way to kill shields and isn't overly concealment dependent. That's because it can one-shot them through their shield without needing to land a headshot. I found it to be an incredibly useful weapon on Brooklyn 1010, not only to dispatch of shields and specials instantly, but also due to how beneficial it is to run some sort of longer range weapon within any build, allowing me to cleanly take out the snipers during this heist's most difficult section. Once again, the exclusive set is an acquired taste aesthetically, adding 40 damage in exchange for a whopping 8 points of concealment, not a trade I'd rush into immediately, but still useful for non-crit builds. As a secondary, it really is quite a formidable option. I just wish it came with a little more concealment as standard to finally switch the 5.7 out of like 90% of my used setups. When run as the focal point of a build though, alongside Graze, it's a surprisingly ammo efficient weapon despite only coming with 10 rounds as standard due to the nature of sniper multi-kills. It really does have formidable damage for a secondary weapon, with a max of 520 actually being second in the entire sniper category behind only the Thanatos, so take that as you will. This means that crits are actually entirely optional with this weapon, again helping with its usage in multiple build types. I'd endorse this gun even harder if it weren't for one serious frustration I ran into while testing. Whilst it reloads only one bullet at a time, it also has this crazy rapid animation which can be further enhanced by skills to make it more bearable. But the real issue comes due to it only having a 35-point fire rate. This means that it can only shoot about one shot every 2 seconds at best. But with rapid reload skills, we can fire and chamber another round much faster than that, meaning there are many moments where your view model looks loaded and ready to fire, but won't due to the fire rate cap, which is stupidly frustrating and often led to me missing shots or mispositioning myself as a result. Honestly, I don't think this weapon's going to be grossly overpowered either way, so my suggestion would be just increase the base fire rate as soon as possible and be done with that strange visual interaction. Overall though, I really like what I've played of this DLC so far. You're probably aware at this point that my fascination with Payday 2 stems much more from a mechanical rather than visual love of the game. I love experimenting with little intricacies and unique facets new weapons can offer, and in the last couple of years of development, a lot of focus has gone on making further additions bring something completely unique to the table, which I personally appreciate massively. This DLC has been produced exactly with that same philosophy in mind, with the 3 new weapons feeling more like 6 when we build to get the very most out of them. However, for those out there suggesting these guns don't fit aesthetically, you're not wrong. But from my perspective, that's been the case with Payday for years. Just look at the bloody Dragon Lord for example. So if you can get past the immersion breaking nature of it all, it's actually one of the most content rich DLC packs in recent memory, which is going to keep me busy for the next few weeks. But if you're still put off by the idea of a weapon with a car's gear stick for a front grip, don't despair. There was a free edition alongside it all. The Sting Grenade, equipable as an ammo type for all launchers and ARs with an underbarrel slot, is free for all. I have to admit, it's a bit of a strange addition, as whilst I initially thought it would be a massive AoE type shrapnel effect ripping up an entire corridor of cops, instead it's effectively just a concentrated shotgun attachment for grenade launchers that doesn't even activate overkill and stops on the first target hit. It penetrates shields, which is nice, but not armor, which is annoying. I'm still struggling to work out its purpose after learning all this, but suppose I do find it solid at long range and pretty much a guaranteed one shot up against anything you run into outside of bulldozers. But without access to any special skills or crits, I don't see how it's going to fit well into the meta at all when you could just blow those cops up in an AoE explosive. Definitely looking like a worst in slot afterthought at this point, but I will need some more time with it to experiment before I can come to a judgment definitively. Oh, but because it can be used by ARs such as Little Friend, I guess they finally have their own little master key attachment at this point, which I suppose is nice, but that fun comes to an end about as fast as it starts. So for those of us who already own the Hostile Takeover bundle, or are planning on picking up the weapon pack, Update 233 has a lot more content than we're used to for a DLC update. For those who will be holding off on this one, I'm afraid there's not a whole lot in here to get you excited, unless it's something I've failed to see with the Sting ammunition. But don't worry, as we're expecting Update 234 to be hot on its heels in just 3 weeks' time, as things are already ramping up towards the end of the campaign, and of course the launch of Payday 3. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it was of use to those of you on the fence about this DLC. I'll see you all very soon, as I'll be looking to break these weapons as much as possible for your viewing pleasure shortly. A huge thank you to my dedicated Patreon backers. If you want to join this crew in going infamous, check out the link below and pledge as little as $2 to see your name in the credits, or get 24-hour early access to future videos and vote on upcoming content. Take care, I'll see you all soon.